Okay. Hey guys, welcome to my final interview with Roni Lee. I only have about four more questions left for her, so this will,
I think we can do that in an hour.
yeah, yeah, we can definitely do that in an hour. So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the questions.
Okay.
So when was the last time that you performed with any of the Runaways members?
Oh, I did a show with Cherie last year, I think, at the whiskey. Yeah. So she and I have done a few things together, and I haven't performed with Joan, but I've seen her many times in the last. I think. Well, actually, now the years go by quickly. I think I saw her about 4 years ago, and we hung out for a little bit when she was on the West Coast. But yeah, I played with Cherie. We did Cherry Bomb.
I see. Yeah, when was it? You said it was sometime last year?
At the whiskey, yeah,
Yeah.
I'd have to look it up. Uh, oh, beginning of the year, I'm gonna say somewhere January, February. I'd have to take
Oh,
a look.
I
Yeah,
see. Okay.
yeah.
Oh my gosh. I cannot believe that I totally missed out on that show. Yeah, I think I
I
maybe,
know that would have been fun.
yeah.
And I because I don't think she made some sort of an announcement that she wasn't going to be playing anymore. Uh, at least the whiskey. I don't know about anywhere ever, but I'm not sure why. What her reasoning is for that. I don't think there's anything wrong with the whiskey in her mind, but I think she's going in a different direction with just the things that she's doing. So
I see. Yeah, I actually went to what she said was supposed to be her last LA show at the Whiskey on
right,
November 2nd, I believe it was.
right, exactly. Yeah.
And yeah, she said that she's not going to be performing in the States anymore. I believe that she might still be performing in Europe, but
Yeah. So I don't know. Did do you know if she said why? I haven't asked her. So
I haven't asked her either. Yeah, like honestly, I haven't had the chance to. Well,
mhm.
maybe if I get a chance to do an interview with her, I will get to ask her then.
Yeah. And next time I talk to her, I'll probably ask her too. But I just figure, she's got a lot going on. She's got a lot of different things going. She's an activist. She carves wood. I mean, she just does a bunch of stuff. So I'm sure she's got something going on. She's not sitting around. I can tell you that.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, I would never think that she's just sitting around, but
No,
honestly, like,
I
I'm
don't think so.
curious about as to, like why she stopped performing, specifically like in
In
Spain.
LA. Yeah, yeah. Yeah, it could be I'm just guessing, could be a political thing, LA and all their craziness, but who knows? I mean, I don't know. She's very vocal, so I probably just missed why. I mean, it's not that I don't think it's even a secret. I just haven't seen her talk about it.
Mhm.
But yeah, so that was most recent, and we're still. And I think she might be moving. Oh, I know her sister lives in Nevada, in the Las Vegas area, so she might be heading there too. I don't know.
I see.
Possibility
Hmm. Yeah,
that
I
could be.
think I may have like also heard her say post something about that on Facebook that she might be moving to Nevada. Wow, I actually had no idea that Marie didn't even live in California anymore. That's crazy.
Yeah, she doesn't. She's been in Nevada for quite a while now, actually.
I see.
Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Okay, so my next question is, when did you create your record label, Play Like a Girl Records?
Well, okay. That was about, I'm going to say rigorously, probably around 2008,
Mhm.
something like that. Maybe even just a little bit before. And it was to put out it was what's called a vanity label. It was to put out my own record at the time,
Mhm.
as I was just getting back into playing. My kids had grown up to some degree and able to fend for themselves just a bit. Still had a 10-year-old at home, I think, but I wanted to put out a record out, and on the Discog and the platforms I was using, the distribution platforms, I had to have a record label,
Mhm.
and there was a couple of around, and I'm still looking at one in the UK about maybe going with the regular label, but I started my own because then I could do what I wanted with it. You know what I mean? And then there were other artists that asked me about it, and I worked with this at the time 14-year-old Caden Cashmere, and she was amazing. So I put her album out on it. And we did her whole album in Los Angeles, and Warren Hewart, which is a producer that worked closely with the label, did that one. And then I ended up releasing a number of other artists on the label too. So it just became more of a mentor label where I would help artists get through and sort of navigate the ever changing and ever irritating recording industry, and how to get a record out, mostly how to distribute records. And a lot of artists think that a record's done once they've finished mastering it. Okay, my record's done, everybody come get it. And it just doesn't work like that. That's when the real money starts. That's when the promotion starts. You got to have publicists, you got to have distribution, you got to let people know that it exists. So it's a whole thing. And so the label became a vehicle to help myself and others get that done. It was cool. It was fun. I still have it, and we still, I just put a record out on it this year. I don't work as actively with other artists right now because it's just a lot of time and effort, and I haven't really run across anybody that's like, whoa, I need to sign this person. But when I do, I will. So that's how that goes. Yeah.
So basically, lately you've just been releasing your own music.
I have been right now. I released Vox, a band VOXXX. She did a remake of Donna Summer's song Hot Stuff, and that was on my label this year. And then last year, Shamini Jane, she's a music healer, and she released an album on my label. In fact, we performed her songs that night that you saw, Shamini. She's on my label as well.
You see, oh my gosh, yeah,
the one with the wings.
Yeah, I definitely remember her. Yes, I actually followed her on Instagram after I saw your show.
Her album is on my label as well. Yeah, so I still do. I still release other artists on my label.
I see. Yeah, well, I mean, that's great. It's great that you created your own record label. I mean, I guess you kind of did it like Joan Jett in that way. When she,
it's funny. I didn't think about that until later, and I see why she did it. Because we are the kind of girls. We're very similar. We were similar back then. Is why we were so close, and we're still very similar in that. I like kind of doing things the way I like doing. I don't like people telling me I have to do something when I don't think it's the best thing for me. And I'm not that I'm not anti-man or anything, but a lot of guys, want to tell you, it's kind of like, I have a tank top that says, don't touch my knobs, because people want to come up and adjust my stuff and change things for me and do it. And unless they have a good reason and they explain it to me, I kind of, I know what I'm doing, and I want to keep doing it that way unless someone has a better, I listen. I don't mind listening, but at the same time, Pink was like that. There's a lot of artists, and it's no coincidence that it's almost all women that have to say no to certain situations and want to maintain control of their own musical destiny and their own product. It just seems to be part of the industry. It's definitely a man's industry, and I don't even begrudge that. I'm used to it. If I had a chip on my shoulder about it, it would just make me an ugly person. So I'm not. I just acknowledge what it is, and those guys, they love their rock and roll, and I love it too. So there you go. I always say, it's a boys' club, and I don't want them to take my membership card away. So I keep my membership card, and I play well with them, and I don't date them. I don't piss off any girlfriends or wives. So I keep it all legit.
Obviously you want to keep your membership card, and like pretty much the only way to do that is to like give everyone respect. And I mean, you've said it before, like in our previous interviews, that you always felt like you were respected pretty much right from the get-go, and there were like very few cases when people like look down on you in this industry because you're a woman.
Yeah, and normally it's before they know anything about me. It's all preconceived ideas, but we all do that to some degree. I do it too. I don't like to think that I do that, but I do it. I realize that, I'll sometimes make an assumption before I see it happen. I think it's a little bit human nature. I mean, it happened to me this weekend. There was a couple of moments where it was like, oh, you're a girl guitar player. Oh, that's cute. You know, pat on the head. And then after the show, I was like, oh. And so, you know, and the girls are out there, you know, cheering me on. And it, you know, I hate to say it, but it becomes kind of a girl boy friendly feud, you know. I keep it friendly because again, it's it's just the way it is, and most people are so sweet, and most men are so respectful, most people, especially in industry, but you have to surround yourself with those kind of people because you could find the other kind out there as well in anything. You could find them. You know, I just don't allow too much of that around me, but every now and then it's out of my control, and I get, you know, I got to deal with it, and I just grin and bear it. It's okay. Yeah.
I mean, I also think that like once people actually see what you can do, and with all of your talent and with everything that you've accomplished already, it's like obviously you deserve it.
Thanks. I mean, you know, it's true, and you would think that there a mutual respect would abound. However, sometimes it's threatening to people, and I don't know why. And it's very rare that it is, but it still is. And it, you know, with artists, it's unusual. Like I've just been so surrounded by such awesome people here at this music festival that it's hard for me to even relate to this because you would think that it's doesn't exist when you're in this environment because it's a singer-songwriter environment and there's just there's hardly any bravado. In fact, if anything, everybody's ridiculously insecure. So, you know, but you get out there in the world of clubs and bars and competition and this and that, and you know, the true battle of the bands, it can get a little crazy. But I don't play too much. Like this weekend, I am doing a benefit for autism. Uh, it's like a some sort of a not a hospital, but a day. It's a care facility for adults, and it's called the Terry Center out in North County, San Diego. It's like San Marcos area. It's just huge, and it's all music therapy and equine therapy. So it's horses and music, and you know. So I try to be more uplifting these days with my music than I was in the punk days. But we had a tight group back there. I'm not gonna lie, it was tight, vicious but tight. We're still, like I said, I still know most of the people that I knew back then.
Hmm.
I know Lauren Molinari from the Dogs. You know, I mean, I was just listening to Al Stewart. He was certainly not a punker, but he was a friend of ours back in the day too. You know, Year of the Cat. So it's a weird group of players and friends back then.
I've heard that song before.
Yeah.
Actually, once on a karaoke night. Yes, I had to cover an event for so a year ago, I was getting my associates in journalism, and I was a part of the college newspaper at SMC. And so for one of my assignments, I had to cover an event that was happening in Santa Monica, and I chose to cover a karaoke night at this bar on Main Street in Santa Monica. And one of the guys who was singing that night was doing the Year of a Cat. So that's why like the name of that song like popped out to me. I not necessarily like I wouldn't say that that I'm a fan of that song. Like I didn't
Sure.
particularly uh
I
like
wasn't a fan either, and why he hung out with all of us rockers, I have no idea. But maybe it was just the energy we had, you know. But Al was a great guy; he still is. I think he looks like a dentist, but he has great song. He's a singer songwriter, you know. So
besides like it's like because you're friends with someone that doesn't necessarily have to mean that you have to like their music.
no, not at all. And in fact, there
Right.
were so many different people back then. It was a real melting pot, you know, especially the Rainbow and all the clubs that we all hung out at. It was just where everybody went. It was really a great time. I wish everybody could, you know, jump back in time for even a few minutes and just experience it because there really hasn't been anything since. If there was something prior, I don't know about it, but you know, it was a pretty magic time when these bands that are iconic were all being formed and developed. So watching, not knowing that I was witnessing, you know, all that is I wish I could go back and tell myself, pay a closer attention and take more pictures. Because, you know, I don't even think I had a camera back then, but whatever it would have looked like at the time, an Instamatic, I don't know.
Yeah, like honestly, whenever I read about like the clubs during that time, like when I read about it in Cherie's book,
Uh-huh.
It's also another book about the Runaways that basically perfectly describes what was going on at like Rodney's English disco. Or
Hmm.
when I read Bobby Jean Brown's biography, like when she said what was going on the Census Strip in the 90s, like I honestly wish that I was like a teen or in my 20s during that time.
Right. I talked to a lot of people that are like, oh, I was born at the wrong time. I
Yeah.
go, well, you can't help that. But what's great is there are still a lot of people around that were there. We all have different perspectives on it. We all hung out with different people. And, and you get little bits and pieces and you get the feel of it. And these biographies and autobiographies and little movies and things like that, they really help preserve it as much as possible.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And I
Sure.
mean, honestly, it still means a lot to me. Like whenever I think that those clubs like the Whiskey or the Wiper Room and the Rainbow, they're all still there and there's still bands performing there to this day. It's like you said before, like it's not like it was like in the 70s, but
No.
just the fact that it's still there, like that
And
means
that they haven't changed it. They haven't remodeled it. I mean, the whiskey, dressing rooms are a little different because they had to be. We probably destroyed them back then. But the rainbows is rainbow. I mean, I don't even think the rug has been changed out. Gosh, ugh.
oh
I
my God.
can't. I don't. I mean, maybe, but it looks pretty nasty. So I would guess. I don't know. I don't. Possibly, but I know the booths are the same. That's for sure. All that stuff, the walls, nothing like that. The bathrooms are even they've been rearranged a teeny bit, but they're basically the same.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
don't know. It's crazy.
Yeah, like honestly, and it's like things like that. It's like you saying that not much has even been changed in the clubs since they
Right.
created. Like honestly, it just means a lot to me the fact that it's still there and that like you still get to go there. I am going to the backyard bash at the Rainbow. I think this is
Yeah.
happening in the middle of April. Usually,
Okay.
like somewhere around the beginning dates, like April 1st or like April 5th or whatever. But I think this year it's going to be more towards like the middle of the month. So I'm
That's interesting. I'll have to check that out. I might be able to go then because I have shows the first weekend, but yeah.
yeah, I cannot for the life of me remember who's playing because like I never bother with things like that. It's like when I mostly go to events for the atmosphere first and foremost and then for the music. Like if I listen to whoever is on stage and if the band really happens to catch my attention, then yeah, like I look them up on Spotify, I put their songs
Sure.
on my playlist. But honestly, I'm not like that person who specifically looks at like who's performing at the event. Like I just want to go.
And that, yeah, you just want to go for that,
Yeah.
yeah, I get it. And that's exactly what the bands are hoping for. They're hoping for people like you. They're hoping that you'll come by and because the people that always come and see the band, that's great. And everybody we like the fans that are already the fans, but what you want to do when you play something like that, because it's not like they're getting paid, that's what they call, playing for exposure. So they want to expose themselves to new fans and new people and a new group. So it's exactly what they're hoping for. So that works. It's working. You're proving it. It's working.
Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, like honestly, I'm glad that I'm able to like give them that satisfaction because I mean,
Sure.
yeah, just the mere experience of going to a club is fun. Yeah, like honestly, lately I've been kind of like worried that I'm not meeting as many people as I used to when I first started going out in my mid 20s, and I'm not talking to as many people as I used to. I started noticing that lately, like I'm mostly just like hanging out by myself.
Right.
Honestly, it kind of sort of like upsets me because I never considered myself to be like an introvert when I was in my mid 20s. My early 20s, yes, because honestly during those years like my high school and my college years, I was kind of a loner.
Uh,
All that changed once I graduated and once I started going out more. I just started meeting people more. I was talking to people more. And lately all of that has kind of changed. Like, and honestly, I wanna find a way to fix that.
well, what's really a bummer is this has been the a miracle and also the detriment of society. All of the technology. One of the reasons why, and this is my theory, that people don't go out as much and go see bands is because they don't have to. They have so much input on the screen and at home. But in the all pre technology, this kind of technology, that you got a flyer in the mail once a month and you knew where the clubs were, and the places were packed. And and nobody ever said to me, "Oh, I didn't know you were playing tonight." Nobody ever said that. Now people say, "Oh, well, I didn't see your Facebook post." I'm like, okay, well, I mean,
Yeah, it's because they were looking at all the
I'm
other posts.
yeah, I'm sorry, but you know where the clubs are, you know who the bands are you like. Just get your ass out and go see them.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's how I find out about like all of the shows, like literally all of the shows that I go to.
Yeah,
Because I'm subscribed to all of the bands that I like. I'm subscribed to all of the clubs that I like on Facebook
right,
and
right,
and you scroll through your like fucking news feed when
right.
post, and that's how you know. And I pretty much see them just in time for the event.
And if you don't see the Viper Room or you don't see the whiskey one night, you can go and look on their website and see who's playing, or you can call them. I mean, the thing is we have more information than we ever had, and people just, if they're not spoon fed, it's like they don't know what to do, and it's kind of it's a little bit maddening, to be honest with you. So I always tell people, well, I don't know how you missed it, because I've been blasting, how it is right before a show. I mean, I'm sick and tired of my own self, because all I see on my own Instagram is my this show poster, and like, oh my god, and so then when people say to me, "I didn't know you were playing there," I'm like, "How could you? Wow, okay. I don't know how you can miss it." But anyway,
It's gotten a little lazy lately because, like, for one thing, it's true
yeah,
that there are a lot of shows happening in LA, like almost every single day.
true.
A lot of choices.
Yep.
And you also know it's always convenient. It's like you miss one show, there's another one happening tomorrow, the day after, next week.
Well,
So,
that's true. There's still a lot of, unfortunately, that's the good thing. There's a lot of live music out there. People just need to go get out and see it. And, musicians, I mean, I go when I can, when friends of mine are playing that and this and that, but, it's kind of like, it's already something I do all the time. So the first thing that I want to do is usually not go see a band on my nights off, and like I said, unless they're, even though I am surrounded by music and people will go, "Hey, let's go see, our buddy, play down here." And I'm like, sure, I'll go. But seeing music isn't always my first choice.
I mean, even though lately I'm kind of starting to get a little bit sick of it, I guess it's still my first choice for some reason. Yeah,
Yeah.
the way,
Well, like you said, I like the camaraderie of it more. Even sometimes, and it is. And that's been the case all along. People just like getting together. We're humans. We like to congregate and do things we enjoy together. So hopefully we keep doing it. And music brings people out.
yeah, absolutely. Okay, so my next question for you is, in what ways did Play Like a Girl records contribute to women in the rock and roll industry?
Oh, well, I think, we discussed some of that. I think what it does is it's not, and again, it's really not just a total woman's label. It's kind of, our motto is, you don't have to be a girl, you just have to play like one, you know. Um, but of course, I've had mostly women. There's been a few other things, projects, but it, I think it just gives them, like, even this last weekend, a lot of women came up to me and they said, "Oh my, you give me so much inspiration, and I just didn't realize that I could do this." And I had a poet girl that was talking to me, and I realized that I should just not deny the thing that I want to do, for whatever reasons that I'm told that I need to not do it. And I think Play Like a Girl gives people the knowledge and the tools that they need to get out and do it. I'm not telling people what they should play or how they should play it, or I'm not producing their music, but I am, I do accept it or not accept it in the label. I've got to tell a few people that they're not quite ready for prime time, but to keep at it and keep going. So I think it just gives people really the tools, and that's what we're missing a lot in rock and roll, and that's really for everybody, but especially women, because they just feel more comfortable working with women that have been through that process of maybe, you know, people judging them for who they are and not what they do. And so so I think that's really helped them in that way. And but I also give them free reign. So they have to understand that, look, I'm just here, I'm mentoring you. I'm not running the show. I'm not telling you where to put your music out. I'm giving you all these options. It's your pocketbook. You pay for it. See, normally what labels do is they make people feel real good because they advance you some money. Well, that's a loan. That's like going to the bank and taking out a loan, and then you're paying for your own record. And then you get a bill later for whatever the record label decides to bill you, and they may or may not make the wisest decisions, and they're basically spending your money. And, so they don't have any reason to be frugal or make good decisions or decide in your best interest. And, so what I tell people is like, look, you can have all the things of a label, but you spend your own money, and that way you know exactly what you're buying, and I'll help you on what you're buying. I'll help you with it. Should you get a publicist? Is it time for that? So how should you distribute? So those are the things that give people power over their own lives and their own projects. So I think that makes a difference. And I think I've started a number of younger artists off well, and knowing that, oh, look, I'm responsible for my own stuff, making my own decisions and my own mistakes, because they're going to make them. And I tell them that all the time. You'll look back and you'll go, oh, I should have done this. So on this project, I'll do this. And that's just learning. That's what people do. They learn by doing. So I think that's at least what I hope that has happened. And I believe so, because that seems to be the response I get. Sorry, still recovering from my illness.
Oh my gosh, no, it's totally. Yeah, hopefully you will get better soon. Yeah, well,
I'm better. And then there's allergy stuff here in Alabama. I think there's a lot of blossoms in the air. Oh. Yeah. Pretty, but it's everybody's complaining about it right now.
Yeah, definitely get some allergy medication. And
oh yeah, I got my little pocket of pills here. Let's see.
Yeah. How long are you going to be how much longer are you going to be in Alabama for anyway?
I'm here. I leave tomorrow. This is my last day. Yeah. The last night of the festival. Well, technically the last day was today. There was an artist brunch thing that I attended, but last night was the last show, last thing I played. So I'm just chilling today, and I'm going to go see Larry Mitchell, and I might take part in his live stream. And then I'm going to fly out tomorrow.
I see. Well, at least you don't have any more performances left, and you'll get to leave tomorrow. So that's a good thing.
Yep. Got a couple this weekend back in California. So.
Okay. And my last question for you.
Ooh, here we are.
Finally. So what special projects have you been working on? Actually, you know what? Scratch that question. You already told me so much about your past projects and what you've been working on in the past. What's next in your agenda?
Well, we just finished this last album. I'm going to be up in Seattle for a few weeks, and I think we're going to start writing the next group of songs. I wasn't going to do it so soon, but I've kind of been feeling like doing that. And I really want to feature my co-writer a little bit more, Lynn. He's such a great writer, producer, instrumentalist. So we've been doing more duo stuff, not duo as in quiet, but just co-writing, and his showing off his. So like this last album has a lot of violin, kind of rock, really good stuff on it. So that I want to, and I'm hell bent on finishing this book I'm writing. So I want to get my book done. It'll have a lot of the same things that we talked about. So hopefully that'll be an interesting read for folks.
So you're doing autobiography?
Yes. And but it's really about just my life, because I started as an illegitimate child of someone in the 50s who was given up for adoption 3 times. I have 3 birth certificates. So it's called Raised by Wolves. And it's just kind of how I navigated the crazy system in those days. I was in foster care. I was in juvenile hall, hitchhiked up and down the 5 corridor by myself at 15 a couple of times, not without incident, but obviously I survived it. And, very, very crazy, because it's kind of like watching the Runaways movie. In the 70s, there was just no guidance. Now, I mean, you strap a kid in with, packing peanuts and everything. And then it truly was it just was a wild, I don't even, I didn't really have, I wasn't raised by parents. So I had no parental guidance really. So I just sort of, I glommed onto musicians. And I had mentors at the time, a couple of great family members that took me in. So literally, I felt like I was raised by a pack of wolves, which as I studied wolves, I began to understand that they're quite an interesting creature and they're very familial. So even though it sounds like it was just wild, wild west, and it was, there's a camaraderie with people that you develop, and they're not necessarily your family, that can get you through some of these things. So that's what I'm writing about. And the music part is obviously a huge part of my life because that kind of saved me, a little bit saved by rock and roll. But, it has its other parts too. So it's going to be fun to write it. I've started writing it already. So I'm going to finish that this year. That is one of the reasons I'm going to Italy. So I go to Europe once a year. So I'll be there almost the whole month of October. I'll play a couple shows and finish that. So that's my big goal for this year, and it's kind of lofty, to finish a book and write a new album. So we'll see if I can get it all done. I think so.
I will definitely be on the lookout for your book. I mean, wow.
Yeah.
Foster care your whole life. Like, honestly, I was so surprised by that. Like, you told me like a little bit about your family, like when you said when you first started playing guitar at
Right.
10, you said.
Right.
I never like honestly, I think you totally and completely like glossed over the whole being a foster care thing. Like honestly, I never even expected you to say that, but wow. I
Well,
mean,
I wasn't in foster care my whole young life. I was my grandparents took me my brother and I out of a dangerous situation. My mother was a drug addict. And so they took us out of Los Angeles and moved us to Oregon with them for a few years. And then she went to prison actually. So we visited her on the farm. I did not know it was prison, and then she got out and she didn't really change her ways too much. And then but it's a long story that which we won't go into here, but it is interesting, and it's very and then I found out who my real father was just a couple of years ago, who was 100% Portuguese, which is why I love Portuguese and not Swedish like my mother. So a lot of stories, a lot of uncovered mysteries. So it's really a soap opera.
well, I
Yeah.
will definitely be on the lookout for it. Yeah, like these.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm kind of taking a break from reading biographies. I'm reading some other stuff for pleasure reading. I
Uh-huh.
read two books by two former Playboy bunnies this summer, and also Priscilla's book, Elvis.
Oh yes, I know. I saw that.
The movie was great. Like honestly, Sofia Coppola basically just like she recreated Priscilla's whole story word for word. Like honestly, she didn't have to change a thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
I
like
can imagine.
she told it exactly as it was written in Priscilla's book. I personally found it to be a little bit boring compared to some other stuff that I read, like specifically
Mhm.
book because she has been through a lot with drug addiction, and there are also some um, cases of abuse on her.
All that, all that, those kind of stories. What happens is when you live those things, like my life too, I thought it was normal. I thought, really, honestly, I really was stunned to find out that is not how everybody's life was. I had no idea because most of the people who are around me, like Joan and a lot of people, I didn't see their parents either. So I just thought everybody had this crazy wild life, and apparently that's not true. Found out later, people like, no, that's not normal, or whatever normal is. But
Yeah, well, I do know that Cherie's mother moved to Indonesia when she was about, I think she was 12 when her mother moved. Yeah, like not 15, but she did live with her grandparents.
yeah, she had a little bit of a rocky go as well. But I don't recall it being unhealthy or dangerous for her. But I don't know. I don't really know how that went down, to be honest. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, her family situation like definitely was a bit rocky because her parents did go through a divorce, and then she was really upset by the fact that like her father um Yeah. Her biological dad, I believe, moved away when he
Mm.
moved to Texas when she was about 12. But then he came back when her mother left for Indonesia when she was 15. Yeah, that's right. Her mother.
Oh, okay. See, I didn't know that either about her. Yeah, that's interesting. I'll have to read the book too. I haven't done that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, but it's like I said, with like when I was reading Priscilla's book, it's like I thought like it was nice, but honestly, I guess that maybe it's kind of a bad thing to say, but I find it interesting to read about more dramatic stuff.
Right, sure. Of course. Well, that's why you're reading. You want that, that stuff to be released in your brain.
Yeah,
Ooh, little adrenaline. What's happening?
exactly.
We're drama junkies, right?
We're all drama junkies,
Yeah.
and I told myself, if you want to read something really dark, try reading Marilyn Manson's biography.
Oh gosh.
Oh my God, yeah. I read a segment from it, and honestly, there were already some pretty disgusting things in there, and I still haven't found it in me to read anywhere past that.
Yeah, I don't think I'm interested in that. And I'll just let somebody else read it and give me the highlights. I think that's I think that well, I'll pass on that one, but yeah. I mean, it all happened, and I'm sure there's been some dark stuff that people haven't written about that needs to stay where it is. But I really enjoyed talking with you. These interviews have been fun, and I really appreciate the interest, and hopefully we'll make sure we share it and you know do
Absolutely.
stuff, and I'll see some other
Yeah,
interviews that you've done.
I will definitely put this up tonight. And also, um, I do have one last question for you left, and
Sure.
that is, do you know when your next LA show will be?
I don't have one booked right now because I'm heading out of town.
I
But
see.
I was thinking I was gonna play in the valley somewhere, and I think I'll probably do it in late summer. So I'll definitely let you know.
I
And
see.
honestly, one of my favorite little clubs to play is Maui Sugar Mill, and
Oh my
and
gosh. Uh-huh.
I've had a few people ask, when are you going to come back to Maui Sugar Mill? So I think and I've had it. You know how when something gets in your head, you're like, I'm just going to have to do it. So I think I'm going to go play there. There's a couple other places too, the um, out in, out, oh my gosh, the big club that everybody plays out the 101, uh, the, the Canyon Club in Agora Hills.
Yeah, the only two places that I know in the valley are Maui Sugar Mill, The Last Call.
Mm-hmm.
I also know about this place called the Liquid Zoo, but it's like this really, really small, like almost like a dive bar.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
probably, well, I played the last call quite a bit. My friend Sammy does a jam on Mondays there, and he's awesome. If you ever get a chance to go out and see his jams on Mondays, they're so fun. And he's a lovely guy. He plays at my Nam jams a lot, Sammy Burke. So that's another fun club. But I just have a little bit of a love for Maui Sugar Mill. Right, the write-off room is closed down now. They moved and then they closed. So that place is gone, which is kind of sucky because that was also a fun place to play.
What's it
But
called again?
the write-off room,
Oh, I see. I never even heard of it. So,
oh, okay.
no,
It had been there for many, many, many years. It was in uh, it was in the valley as well. And then they moved to Studio City and just never, the new location never just didn't make it. And that happens sometimes. Sometimes it's location, location, location. Like Maui Sugar Mill, who would have thought, this little place in a strip mall, but that's how it is.
yeah,
It's
I
a,
mean, honestly, yeah, it's like it's located in this like really generic like
yeah,
area. Like there's nothing like too special around there, but still, but then there's this like club where like it's almost like a dive bar, but they have so many amazing music acts perform there. Like
oh, I know.
big
It's,
names too. Like Alice Back played there, I think like way back in 2018. I remember seeing it on a flyer. Yeah, they have a lot of pretty like big names play there.
yeah,
Yeah. Crazy Town also had a show at Maui Sugar Mill in 2019. I remember seeing them there.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and that place, you know, it just packs out, and the
Uh-huh.
stage is about, you know, size of, well,
The stage is
mostly
so tiny. Yeah.
it's tiny. It's like a foot off the ground, you know. It's just, but it's just, I don't know. It just got them, they got the magic touch. So it's kind of like those other clubs. You just don't mess with it, don't change it. If they
Absolutely.
remodeled it, it probably would never be the same. You know what I mean? It just probably, I don't know. I don't know if it would attract what it attracts now. I don't know. It's hard to say, but
Well, hopefully they don't remodel it. I remember during COVID, they did put out like an announcement that they were going to close it. And
yeah, I remember that too.
yeah, like a few months into 2020. And I'm so glad they didn't. Like, honestly, when they put that announcement up, I was so heartbroken.
I know.
Like, oh my gosh. And I'm so glad that they stayed open.
Yeah, me too. I'm glad they got through it, because now they're, hopefully they're doing well and successful. But I mean, they've been there forever, and you know, it's one of those last clubs where people have played for a long time, and it's becoming a classic, you know, a classic, and hopefully it doesn't go away anytime soon. It's a great place to play, you know. So I think that's my next goal. I'm gonna reach out to them and see if I can grab a date up there. So
Wow.
I will let you know for sure.
Absolutely. Yes, please do so. I will. I am definitely looking forward to seeing you play there. And
Yeah.
yeah, have a good rest of your day, Ronnie.
Thank you. Thank you, Marianne. You have a great day.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay. Bye.